Hello everyone. If you remember correctly, in the last material that I had uploaded, we had discussed linguistics in a very broad manner. We had defined linguistics as the scientific study of language. We had also looked at various definitions of language. Now, in this particular material, we'll be looking at how to study linguistics. What are the various ways in which we can conduct the scientific study of language? So the material has been titled, What is Linguistics? So in order to study language, in order to conduct a scientific study of language, what has been done is the subject matter, that is language, has been subdivided into three levels. And these levels indicate the hierarchical structure of language. So at the base you have speech sounds, that is the first level of structure as far as language is concerned. And then the second level of structure in language will be words and sentences, and the third level is meaning. So the study of language, the scientific study of language, has been broadly categorized into three based on the levels of structure in any language. We are not talking about one particular language, we are talking about any language in general. So there are three levels of structure and we have three ways of studying language as far as linguistics is concerned. So we talked about three levels of structure in language and three corresponding branches of linguistics. Now we look at each branch. So the first level of structure in language, if you remember, was that of speech sounds. So we have the study of speech sounds, that is phonetics and phonology. The difference between phonetics and phonology will be explained later, but right now let's just subcategorize the main subject matter of linguistics. And the next is the study of structure of words and sentences. That is the next level in language, words and sentences. That comes under morphology and syntax. And finally, you have the study of meaning, which is the third level of structure as far as language is concerned. And the corresponding areas of linguistics are named semantics and pragmatics. So the difference of each of these terms, the definitions of each of these terms, each of these branches of linguistics will be explained later. So in the previous slide, we looked at the various branches of linguistics corresponding to the various levels of structure in language, inherent in any language. So the first level of structure was that of sounds, speech sounds, and we discussed how phonetics and phonology are the branches of linguistics corresponding to the study of speech sounds. Now we have to understand what is the difference between phonetics and phonology. So phonetics studies language at the level of sounds. How are speech sounds articulated by the human speech mechanism, and how are the speech sounds received by the auditory mechanism. It also looks at how sounds can be distinguished and characterized by the manner in which they are produced. Now, phonology, on the other hand, studies the combination of sounds into organized units of speech, like the formation of syllables and larger units of larger units of speech. And it also describes the sound system of a particular language and the combination and distribution of sounds which occur in that language. Now, I'm sure you've started studying phonetics parallel to this particular module of linguistics. Now, what you study there is a combination of phonetics and phonology. You're studying phonetics because you're studying about the classification of sounds, but you're studying the classification of sounds in the English language specifically. You don't look at the general classification as such. So what you study as part of your syllabus is a mixture, a combination of phonetics and phonology. So at the first level, we had the study of speech sounds, and the corresponding branch of linguistics was phonetics and phonology. Now at the next level, we have the study of structure of words and sentences, and the corresponding branches are morphology and syntax. So morphology is the study of the structure of words, and it helps linguists to understand the structure of words by putting together morphemes. Now, what is a morpheme? A morpheme is the smallest grammatical meaningful part of language. We had two types of morphemes, free morphemes and bound morphemes. Now, free morphemes say a word like cat or mat or fast. All of these are free morphemes because they, they are composed of a single meaningful unit of a word that can stand alone in the language. Now, in order to understand the difference, you have to compare it with, in order to understand the concept of a free morpheme, you have to compare it with bound morphemes. Say a word like unpleasant. Pleasant is a free morpheme. Okay, it can stand alone in the language. It is a single meaningful unit and it can stand alone in the language. Whereas the prefix that comes before pleasant, un, is a bound morpheme. It cannot stand alone and it has no real meaning on its own. Another example, walked. Walk plus ed. So walk is a free morpheme. It is a single meaningful unit and it can stand alone in the language. Whereas ed, walked, ed is a suffix and it has no meaning on its own. So ed will be the bound morpheme. Now, when you study morphology in your advanced linguistic classes, you will come across another categorization of morphemes into derivational and inflectional morphemes. I'm not going to elaborate on that here. You learn it in your later modules of the linguistics paper. So that is morphology. It is about the structure of words. Now coming to syntax, it studies the structure of sentences, how words perform in a sentence. This is something that you learn in your grammar classes as parts of speech. How do you define parts of speech? You categorize words into the various parts of speech depending on the function of each word in a sentence. So all those aspects come under syntax. And it looks at syntax as a branch of linguistics, looks at the rules and process of building a sentence. It looks at the word order in a sentence. And word order is important because the meaning of a sentence in any language depends on the word order. Say for example, when I say the dog chased the cat, change the word order and I say the cat chased the dog. The meaning has changed completely. So syntax from that perspective is a very important branch of linguistics. Now, one thing that you have to remember is native speakers of a language. Say we are all native speakers of Malayalam and the syntax of the language is automatically accessible to us. We automatically, inherently understand where the words go in a sentence. Whereas when you learn another language, the syntax has to be inculcated. You have to be trained in the syntax of a new language. And now we move on to the final level of structure in language, that is meaning. And we have two branches of linguistics corresponding to the study of meaning: semantics and pragmatics. Now, semantics deals with, as explained, semantics deals with the level of meaning in language, and it attempts to analyze the structure of meaning in a language. For example, how words similar or different are related. So, for example, the relationship between the words wide and narrow is not as the same as the relationship between the words tulip and flower. So semantics studies such differences and similarities. Now, pragmatics can be called an extension of the study of meaning. It can be called an extension of semantics. It studies language, it studies meaning from the point of view of usage. I'll give you an example. The statement, I'll come to your party. Depending on the relationship between the person who uttered this statement and the person who is receiving this statement, this can either be a threat or a promise. So pragmatics studies language at the level of meaning from the point of view of usage. So this is the final level in the study of language, semantics and pragmatics. So all these branches of linguistics corresponding to the various levels of structure of language help linguists to understand how language works. Take a good look at the diagram that I have given here. So we've defined linguistics, we've defined language, we've looked at the various branches of linguistics. Now, there are certain misconceptions surrounding linguistics. So let's clear that out here. What is linguistics? Not. Linguistics doesn't necessarily mean the learning of many languages. So in order to be a linguist, it's not necessary that you know all languages in this world. Even without knowing the language, you can study the language. You can study the structure of the language. So being a linguist necessarily doesn't mean that you know many languages or you learn many languages. That is not the idea. Then it is not to be confused with literary criticism. Like when you analyze a sonnet by Shakespeare, you're not doing linguistics. You're not conducting a scientific study of language. You're merely conducting literary criticism. The two should not be interchangeably used. Then linguistics is not your traditional study of grammar. What you studied in semester 2 as part of your general English paper is not to be confused with linguistics. There are minor aspects here and there derived from the traditional study of grammar, but linguistics is not that. Next is comparative philology. Linguistics should not be confused with comparative philology. Now, what is comparative philology? It's something you learned last semester in your fourth semester as the history of English language. You studied the origins of languages, Germanic, Indo-European, etc., etc. All that comes under the umbrella term of comparative philology, which was later referred to by scholars as historical linguistics. So comparative philology or historical linguistics is just one tiny part of linguistics. It is not to be interchangeably used with the term linguistics. So I hope you found informative concepts and ideas here in this particular recording. Thank you for listening.